Welcome to the Vegan Squad Health and Fitness Summit. I am John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan, and I am so glad you are here. We have so much information, knowledge, experience to share with you, and I'm so excited for all that you're about to get to learn. Make sure you guys stay until the end of the videos. There is a huge special going on. If you haven't already taken part in it, it will be in the description box down below. And I'm also going to include the link to the VIP tickets that you've already purchased in case you want to send it to a friend. If you need anything else, reach out to me or any of your Vegan Squad coaches. We're here to support you on your journey to becoming the best you can be with your health and fitness. We'll see you inside.
Welcome to the Vegan Squad Community Summit. My name is Jordan. Vegan Bodybuilding with Cancer is the workshop. So this is from diagnosis to dominance. It's about rebuilding the body with vegan nutrition and bodybuilding and rewriting the story. So this is my calling. This is my mission in life. And what we'll be going over today is how vegan nutrition and bodybuilding significantly enhances the well-being of those that are living with cancer, survivors who are in remission, and just as important, how it is integral for cancer prevention as well. So this talk's going to be about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. So why is this workshop so important? Because cancer affects almost everyone. So let's just take a look at the statistics. So globally, about 1 in 5 people develop cancer at some point in their lifetime. That's roughly 20% of the population. And even more here in the United States, where men and women equally are going to be diagnosed with cancer, about 30 to 40%. And socially and public health surveys have found that a large majority of people, up to 70%, know someone that's been affected with cancer. If you guys could throw your hands up or throw in the chat if you know or you have been diagnosed yourself with cancer. So W. Jones got it. Was it yourself or was it someone else? Colon cancer, Shannon, I got it. Ashley as well. Yeah, it really, really impacts everybody. So why don't I tell you a little bit about myself? You could see my picture, you could see my credentials, but let me tell you personally my experience and why this is so important to me. So when I was 4 years old, I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting at the dining room table. It was me, my mother, my father, my grandpa, and my grandma. And my grandfather grabbed his heart. And about 10 to 15 minutes later, he died of a heart attack. And that traumatic event, I could still remember, like I said, like it was yesterday. And then as I got into my teens, there were 2 specific ailments that I personally developed. First was a heart arrhythmia, it's paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, and a neurodivergent illness as well, where I was afflicted with bipolar disorder. And that is what I live with today. And that's why since I was a teenager, I have been obsessed with fitness and nutrition. Not because I want to manipulate my body to look a certain way so I could feel a certain way, because it is essential for me to thrive and be successful as a husband, as a father, and as a leader. And in June of this year, I was actually diagnosed myself with cancer. It's T-cell large granular lymphocytic leukemia, which is TLGL leukemia. And as a result of that, I have committed my life to serving all of those that are living with cancer and that are in remission, as well as that want to establish a cancer prevention protocol through bodybuilding and through vegan nutrition. And this is my why. That is my father right there. My mom had cancer twice, plus a lot of our family members. Actually, I could totally relate to that. And my father is my why, just like your mother, unfortunately, was afflicted with cancer. And I hope she is still living, and I hope that she is a survivor and that she is thriving. This is my father with my eldest daughter when she was younger. She is 19 now. In his 60s, he was diagnosed with cancer, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And he also lived with heart disease, with COPD, an aortic aneurysm, high cholesterol, and atrial fibrillation. We didn't know how long he was expected to live. He weighed over 300 pounds, and he was in and out of the emergency room as well as the hospital. And for myself, I was a vegan, and I knew that plant-based was going to be the best way for my dad to be able to recover. And for years and years, I harped on how a plant-based diet would be best for him. And finally, I got through to him. Finally, I was able to inspire my father to be able to go over to a vegan-based diet. And thankfully, he did. And not only did he survive, but he thrived for the next 4 years. And he lost over 100 pounds, and his blood markers were all stabilized. And he was an inspiration, not just to myself, not just to our family, but to all of those that were around him. Because anytime they touched him or were around him, he just lit up the room. And thankfully, because of veganism, he was able to thrive for the next 4 years. And I love that man, and I will forever respect his decision to go vegan. So why does this matter? Because if you've been afflicted with cancer, or if you're a survivor, cancer disrupts your muscle, your metabolism, your energy, and your confidence as a human being. And survivorship requires rebuilding, not just surviving. So let's begin to discuss the most common ailments plaguing those living with cancer and whom are in remission, and how vegan nutrition and bodybuilding from a clinical perspective positively impacts their healing and their recovering journey. So first, let's start with muscle loss, sarcopenia, which is the progressive loss of skeletal muscle mass, strength, and physical function. Now, it's associated mostly with aging, but it's very common in cancer, often developing earlier and more aggressively than in general populations. Clinically, sarcopenia is not just muscle loss. It's also associated with reduction in strength, mobility, significantly higher fatigue, worse treatment tolerance, increased risk of hospitalization, and higher mortality. And up to 70% of cancer patients, unfortunately, are going to experience some form of sarcopenia. So vegan protein supports muscle repair with lower inflammation. Number one, compared with animal proteins, plant proteins don't contain the same amount of fats that lower specific types of acid that are in the body, and they drive pro-inflammatory acids. They produce less post-meal oxidative stress than animal-based meals, especially red and processed meats, which frequently raise CRPD, oxidative stress markers, and different dysfunction within the body. Basically said, lower inflammation equals better environment for muscle tissue. Bodybuilding preserves and rebuilds lean muscle mass. So high mechanical tension, controlled time under tension while you're bodybuilding, while you're lifting, the tempo is extremely essential, because muscle mass is governed by one equation: muscle protein synthesis minus muscle protein breakdown. Resistance training activates the mTOR pathways. It increases amino acids uptake into muscle. It suppresses excessive breakdown, which is extremely important for those that are living with cancer, for those that have survived cancer. And even low to moderate loads. Doesn't matter how much tension. It could be low, it could be moderate, it could be high if you're a bodybuilder. When performed close to fatigue, produce a strong anabolic signal. This is why bodybuilding preserves muscle even during aging, illness, or caloric control. And muscle is medicine. So muscle is an active organ. It's not just tissue. Skeletal muscle functions like an endocrine and metabolic organ. It releases myokines that reduce chronic inflammation, improve immune surveillance, enhance insulin sensitivity, suppress tumor promoting pathways, and most importantly, muscle equals more anti-inflammatory and anti-supportive signaling. This is especially important in cancer, where inflammation and immune dysfunction drive progression and complications. So chronic fatigue, I could definitely relate to this. This is something that I experience on a day-to-day basis, and something that through proper nutrition and through proper resistance training, I'm able to properly manage. Micronutrient dense plants always support energy metabolism. It increases and enhances insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial efficiency, oxygen delivery, gut-derived signaling, and inflammation control. It allows the body to produce more usable energy per calorie. This is why many people experience higher baseline energy and faster recovery on a well-balanced plant-based diet. And resistance training restores energy and sleep quality by rebuilding the cellular machinery that produces ATP, improves fuel delivery, reduces inflammation, stabilizes hormone, and increases metabolic reserves. It doesn't just spend energy. It teaches your body how to make more of it. Next is conflicting nutrition advice. This is unfortunately something that all cancer patients and survivors are going to have to deal with. What is going to be the best diet for them? What is going to be the best diet for treatment? What is going to be the best diet post-recovery? Well, a whole food vegan diet simplifies your choices. Also, a processed vegan diet simplifies your choices. I'm a huge fan of different processed protein sources when it comes to a vegan diet, especially for bodybuilding and for strength training and for fitness. I'm a huge fan of Segre's protein. I'm a huge fan of TVP. Like John was talking about TPP before. I'm a huge fan of vegan protein powders. These are all different processed foods, not just whole-based plant foods that are going to enhance survivorship as well as enhance the quality of treatment. And bodybuilding reframes food as fuel, not just as fear. Our metabolic systems, as we're going through cancer, unfortunately, it slows down. But we have the ability to enhance it through our nutrition. And bodybuilding doesn't look at food no more as this is going to make us gain weight or this is going to have a negative effect on our energy. No, it is now fuel because we're able to burn it and utilize it during those strength training sessions. So metabolic dysfunction is something else that we are afflicted with. So high fiber improves insulin sensitivity. By slowing glucose absorption, it clears the fat from the muscle. It feeds insulin-sensitive gut bacteria. It lowers inflammation, and it restores normal cellular signaling without stressing the heart or the hormones. This is why high-fiber plant-based protein patterns consistently outperform low-fiber diets for metabolic health, energy stability, as well as longevity. And strength training turns muscle literally into a glucose sink because it increases your insulin-dependent glucose uptake. It expands your glucose storage. It increases muscle mass. It clears intramuscular fat, and it restores insulin signaling, lowering the blood pressure, the blood sugar, depending on the pancreas, as well as the heart. This is why resistance training is one of the most powerful non-pharmacological tools for glucose control, metabolic health, as well as longevity. Loss of body trust. Predictive digestion restores safety signals back to the body by reducing internal uncertainty. It stabilizes your blood sugar. It calms your vagal pathways. It lowers your inflammation. And it teaches the nervous system through repetition that the body is reliable and it's safe to inhabit. And strength gains rebuild confidence as well as agency. This is something, unfortunately, while you're going through cancer or you have survived cancer, you have lost trust in your body. Through strength training, by being in the gym day in and day out, or even just working out with resistance bands, dumbbells, or even your own body at home, or through yoga practice, you're able to regain that trust back with your body. You're able to gain that relationship back with your body. You're able to feel good with your body, and you gain that trust back, and you love yourself again. You are not saying that your body is now going to, unfortunately, be a victim. No, You're utilizing you're utilizing your body to propel you to success in every aspect of your life. It's a blessing. Cancer can be a blessing if you utilize nutrition as well as strength training in the right way, and you can regain that confidence within yourself as a human being. Appetite and taste changes. Blended plant-based meals are easy to tolerate. I'm a huge proponent of blended meals. I love my smoothies. I literally have these 72-ounce smoothies that I can make every single day. I fill it with plant-based milk, about 12 to 16 ounces. Then on top of that, I add about 300 to 400 grams of ice. Then I put some whole foods in there, a lot of plant-based fruits, a lot of vegetables. And then I put some vegan protein powder on top, which is absolutely giving it the flavor that it deserves. Blend it all together, and you have this huge 72-ounce smoothie that goes down absolutely perfectly. And it really helps break down different negative enzymes that are within our body, and it helps us rebuild. Light resistance training, even light, can restore and preserve muscle mass. And again, we've discussed why muscle mass is so important for cancer survivors, as well as those that are currently living with cancer right now. Doesn't matter if it's bodybuilding, doesn't matter if it's CrossFit, doesn't matter if it's something as light as taking resistance bands or utilizing your own body weight. It preserves lean muscle mass, which is extremely important. GI distress. Also, cooked plants and fermentation support gut health, which is very, very important for us that are living with cancer, because our microbiome, unfortunately, because of the breakdown in the cells, is going to be negatively impacted. So how can we properly manage it both while surviving and then post in recovery? So cooked plant-based meals support gut health by reducing digestive workload. It gently feeds beneficial microbes, and it strengthens the gut barrier, lowering inflammation, stabilizing blood sugar, and calming the nervous system, and restoring trust between the gut and brain. They're not less nutritious than raw foods in this context. Sometimes they can be more therapeutic. And movement improves mobility and inflammation control. So exercise is essential for inflammation control in cancer patients and survivors, because it converts muscle into an anti-inflammatory organ. It stabilizes our blood sugar. It reduces visceral fat signaling. It calms the nervous system, and it improves immune regulation and restores the physiological balance, safety, and sustainability. So when appropriately programmed, that's a key word, when appropriately programmed, don't want to do too much, don't want to do too little. When properly programmed, exercise does not add stress. It literally removes it. Fear of recurrence. This is something for myself, who is currently in a watch and wait period, meaning that every so often I have my blood markers checked, and I am praying every time that my white blood cell counts, my red blood cell counts, my neutrophils are all high, where I don't need to receive any type of chemotherapy or radiation treatment. And I know it's the same for those that are in remission. My daughter's mother, unfortunately, had lymphoma when she was younger. I think we were in her late teens when she had it. And she had it for about a period of 2 to 3 years. And thankfully, she survived. She's thriving right now. And still, every 6 months, she has to go to the doctor, the oncologist, and her fear of recurrence is there. And she prays every time that she does not have any type of cancer. And thankfully, she has not till this day. But an anti-inflammatory vegan diet is going to support those blood markers and keep them as high as possible. And training improves immune resilience. And thankfully, because of strength training, your body and your biomarkers are going to be significantly higher than if you did not. So there is no post-remission roadmap. There's not anyone after treatment telling you what to do or what not to do. But what a vegan diet and bodybuilding does is it gives you structure. It gives you structure that you can not just survive in, but that you could thrive in. It offers lifelong sustainability. Bodybuilding provides that structure as well as continued progression so that you can develop and retain that confidence and trust back in your body. So final message for those that are living with cancer or that are cancer survivors. Cancer changes the body, but it doesn't change our potential. And strength rebuilds our story. With vegan bodybuilding, we are literally rebuilding the body and rewriting the story. Now let's talk about cancer prevention. Because again, up to 40% of us as Americans are going to unfortunately be inflicted by this disease. So how can we prevent through proper diet and proper strength training and exercise us with the percentage chance of being one of those 40%? So here's a big picture. Most cancers are influenced by lifestyle. So the World Health Organization estimates that up to 50% of cancer cases globally could be prevented by modifying risk factors, including an unhealthy diet and physical inactivity. That is why a vegan diet, plant-based, is so essential. It is so important. It gives us the right nutrients, the micronutrients, the macronutrients that our body needs in order to thrive every single day. It doesn't inflame our body. It doesn't cause insulin resistance within our body. And it's the same thing with strength training. Daily, repeatable behavior. Whole foods, processed foods, most importantly, vegan foods, along with strength training, are going to be essential. So Shannon, how long were you vegan beforehand? I was vegan beforehand since 2016. So 2016 to 2025, so about 9 years now, before I was diagnosed with cancer. So vegan nutrition for cancer prevention. So fiber lowers insulin and hormone exposure. So dietary fiber lowers cancer risk by reducing insulin release, improving insulin sensitivity. It decreases IGF-1 activity. It increases estrogen elimination, feeds hormone regulating gut bacteria, and it reduces inflammatory and amplification of hormone signaling. So in prevention terms, less insulin, less growth signaling, less hormone recycling equals more metabolic calm. Phytonutrients reduce oxidative stress. So phytonutrients are powerful cancer protective compounds found only in plants. They're not found in any type of animal-based meats. They reduce DNA damage. They lower inflammation. They regulate hormones and insulin. And they also enhance immune surveillance, which improves detoxification and influences gene expression, making them central to cancer prevention. The goal is not perfection, but diversity and consistency. And then the gut microbiome diversity improves immunity. So simple vegan diets feed gut bacteria consistently because it is rich in dietary fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Its resistance through starch, prebiotic compounds. These are primary fuels that are beneficial for gut bacteria. The results is going to be increased microbial diversity. It expands our protective species. It reduces the pathogenic inflammation promoting microbiomes. And of course, it's a diverse microbiome is one of the strongest predictors of cancer resilience. And bodybuilding and strength training for prevention. Muscle improves glucose control. Resistance training lowers inflammation, and strength supports our immune surveillance. So lifelong prevention model, start before diagnosis. The sooner that you can get started with your vegan diet, proper nutrition, as well as your fitness journey, the less percentage chance that you have to be one of those that are afflicted with cancer. Because again, up to 50% of all cancers are based upon lifestyle habits. Continue through remission. So if you are recovering, utilize a vegan diet, utilize bodybuilding to regain strength, regain confidence within yourself, within your body. Train and eat for decades, not for weeks. We focus on longevity. We don't focus on the short term. We're focused on long-term health, not just short-term health. And with that, I want to thank you guys and just open it up for any type of question and answers. So thank you guys. It's important to look into. Yep, the products that you use for cooking, cleaning also create exposure to cancer causing chemicals. It's important to look. Yeah, and how you cook your food as well is extremely important. A lot of people burn the bottom of their pans, which can lead to certain types of cancer. So you want to be careful with how you cook, the proper oils that you're cooking with, or like John brought up before in his past presentation, the different types of sprays that you're using as well. So that's extremely important, Candace. Thanks for bringing that up. Anybody else have a question or something that they want to share with them about their journey, whether it's themselves or their family members through cancer?
I've had a few family members who have been exposed to cancer, different kinds of cancers. So I've had some education on the subject. Luckily, all of them were survivors. Um,
Thank God.
but yeah, so that was a blessing. But it did put me in the rabbit hole of doing the research and actually paying attention to the things we use on a daily and start changing how we take that approach.
Yeah. So can I ask what type of cancers that they had and, what it is that they did in order to thrive, not just survive?
So they were mostly my elders, but so one of them was my great grandfather had stomach cancer, and that was due to just old eating habits that he was accustomed to. And he was a veteran at that. So, old habits die hard.
Yeah.
So it was a family team effort and trying to control his diet a bit more to make sure that he pulled through that. Grandmother with breast cancer, that was something. And come to find out, a lot of her exposure actually came from one of the food banks. Um, just a lot of industrial stuff that was, being left around that nobody really paid attention to.
Sure.
So it, there's a factor in that. And another one was an aunt who actually had more lymph node cancers.
Yeah.
So yeah, so or at least that's what we thought at first, and turned out that was actually leukemia. And so with that, a dramatic change in diet is what actually helped her quite a bit, on top of her current treatment and just having a real strong support system within the family.
Yeah. I just love how you keep highlighting how diet is so important. And that's the blessing that we all have here. We have a roadmap to health. We have a roadmap to longevity. We have a roadmap to thriving inside of this world. And, I'm so glad for it because it has definitely kept my biomarkers high. It restored stability within my dad. And I know that those that are living with cancer, if we could find a way to inspire them. Alex, I just read your story about your mother. I get it. I tried for years to inspire my dad. And you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't words that worked. It was just seeing me in a daily habitual pattern of going to the gym, of eating a vegan diet, of thriving, of exercising. And he knew what I was afflicted with from an early age. I have paroxysmal AFib. I also have another heart arrhythmia that developed later on in life. I have bipolar disorder. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I have vasculitis, which is an autoimmune disorder. And it is all properly managed because of a vegan diet and proper strength training. And my dad saw that, and he wanted that for himself. He was finally at a point in his life where his pain was so much that he was willing to do whatever it took. And he was inspired. And he went plant-based right away overnight. And those smoothies that I was telling you about, those 72-ounce smoothies, his were even bigger. Those are his favorite things in the morning. He would literally drink it right out of the container. Yeah, he loved it. And thankfully he thrived as a result of that. So never give up. And just know, just by living as a vegan, it's not just talking about it. It's living it. You are an inspiration. You are a shining light. And when there's darkness in the world, the only thing that could brighten up the room is light. And that's what we all are here on the call. So just continue to be that shining light. And hopefully, Alex, your mom is going to come over to the light. And then Shannon, my surgeon told me after that I was already eating the way he would tell me, eat me. Thank you, Jordan. It's a little harder to inspire my parents, who are both in their 70s, but I would do my best to lead by example. Yeah, definitely. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Naomi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just wanted to bring to the world, to the world's attention, that dragon boating is an international sport, and many communities around the world have breast cancer survivor teams as well as all cancer survivor teams. So, you know, it's a sport that sort of gives you the opportunity to think about yourself as an athlete as opposed to a cancer patient.
That's a great thing to bring up. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So
you're right.
Google it if you don't know what dragon boating is. But if you can envision like a 46-foot canoe-shaped boat,
yep.
And there's 20 paddlers in a boat and a navigator. So it's a team sport, and because the other team members have had some kind of cancer, it's a great community of support.
Yeah, I love that, Naomi. Thank you for sharing. It's funny because I say all the time that I live with this disorder or that disorder, but I'm not that disorder. And a lot of times, unfortunately, those that are afflicted with cancer identify themselves as cancer patients and or cancer survivors, and understandably so, because it affects your mind, it affects your body, it affects your spirit. But when you're a part of a community, something that's bigger than yourself, when you're able to identify with something more, whether it's athletics, whether it's fitness, whether it's being a vegan, etc., you are no longer a victim. That is just a part of you that you have to properly manage. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
That I was already eating. I love that, Shannon. That's amazing. So my surgeon told me after my surgery that I was already eating the way that he would tell me to eat. That's fantastic.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah.
Like to chime in. Thank you for that presentation and all that great information, man.
Yeah, my
I was
pleasure.
diagnosed with early stages of prostate cancer 2 years ago, and we've been monitoring that with the blood tests, the MRIs, and doing the biopsies, right? So we've juiced. My wife at the time, we've juiced off and on and went on different ventures along those lines. But it came about 2 months ago, and the initial doctor that I was seeing was saying my PSA numbers were high enough to make a decision
Right.
whether or not I was going to do surgery, chemo, or what option that I was going to do. So I went to see the surgeon who was going to perform it, right? So he told me that my numbers are not there, right? That he had an option. He had an option for me that he didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. He said, I would suggest you go watch this documentary called Game Changer on Netflix, right? So he said he had watched it like 3 years ago. And he was plant-based, the surgeon, the normal surgeon who's gonna just go and do narcotics and all kind of other stuff. He said, go watch it.
That's
He
so
said,
badass.
Jonathan, he said, Jonathan, you're not there yet. What I want you to do is go watch this, and I need you to go plant-based because he's plant-based. So go plant-based and let's see where you're at in April, right? So I've been juicing for the last 3 weeks. I'm totally juicing for 4 days out of the week, right? Go to Sprouts, spend like $85 on juice and stuff like that, right? So we've juiced before, but now it's like you need to do this. It's not a no option, right? So I picked it up to 4 miles on power walking. I started swimming at the gym, and I was on the treadmill yesterday when somebody was speaking. So I've been enhancing, right? But I don't know exactly what to do when it comes to the plant-based diet. And this is why I don't know, somebody ran something on Instagram the other day is how I found out about you guys.
Yeah.
And like I said, the community aspect, man, I've been different parts of communities in my life, and I thought that this would really help out. So I just wanted to share that, man. So the actual surgeon suggested change my diet to plant-based before we take it to the next step.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought it up. Is your name Jonathan?
Yeah.
Jonathan, love your story. Thank you for sharing about Game Changers. That is one of the documentaries that changed my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It was originally Forks Over Knives, and then Game Changers just brought it to a whole nother level. Loved it. Actually, John, who presented before, him and I are actually going to be interviewing one of the weightlifters from Game Changers. So yeah, stay tuned to that. When it comes to specific dietary recommendations, every cancer affects the body in a specific and unique way. So let me give you my telephone number and get in contact with me, and we'll converse and we'll talk about your specific situation, what your specific goals are, and then let's come up with a diet plan for you as far as the proper nutrition goes, because we want to keep your numbers as low as possible. We don't want that PSA to blow up. My number is 732-325-8655. I'm Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to text. Always there to help, brother.
Can I just jump in here and say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. I'm one of their instructors. I'm also a plant-based nutritionist. And 3 years ago, my brother, who was 76 at the time, always very active, thought he ate healthy, black belt in karate, road crew in college, doubles in tennis and everything. His PSA from 1 year was under 1, and then the following year was 10. He had stage 4 aggressive prostate cancer. And in 1 year, he had absolutely no signs or symptoms. He went to the doctor, did a blood test. So the prognosis was, what if I do nothing? You have up to 2 years. What if I do something? Probably 10. And the reason he had to do something was that the cancer metastasized outside of the prostate on top of his femur bone. So it was spreading throughout his body. Sure. So he finally calls up his little sister and says, okay, I'm ready to listen to you. and I put him on a whole food, plant-based diet. I didn't, exemplify juicing. You can juice if you want. The big thing is a lot of seaweed and no oils. And 6 weeks later, he lost 16 pounds, which that was just like, he wasn't even heavy, but he was now playing an extra hour of tennis and playing singles and everything. And I said, well, I don't care about any of that. I want to know what your PSA number is, because that's the scientific evidence. And the scientific evidence said his PSA was under 1.
Oh my
6
God.
weeks eating whole food, plant-based, stage 4, advanced aggressive prostate cancer. He still had to do the treatment because it had gone on outside of the prostate on top of the femur. So he did still have to do, the radiation and the chemotherapy for 12 weeks. And I said to him, well, your blood doesn't lie. So what did the doctor say? And the doctor said, well, the diet might have helped. So that's, typical Western medicine, but you don't have to just juice. You can eat real food and lots of it. Just stay away from oil and eat a lot of seaweeds.
Myra, such an inspiring story. I'm so glad that you were able to inspire your brother to adopt a whole food, plant-based diet, and he's here because of you.
Right. And now he's 80 years old.
God bless.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna hop in real quick. Myra, thank you for that. That's awesome. Like, I think this is Jordan. You've unlocked for me another area that we can really focus on, since you've made your current position here so open and available for other people. I'm sure there are other people out there that could really, really benefit from what you're offering. Jonathan, I'm really excited to see you and Jordan connect. And we've got a lot of people in here. There's a really full house. So if anybody didn't catch Jordan's number, I'm just going to post this a little bit early. But if you're interested in connecting with Jordan, he is one of the coaches with the Vegan Squad team. So if anybody else didn't get his number, you can still fill out this application and just let us know that you'd like to talk more with Jordan, and I can get you guys in touch so that you're not having to write down phone numbers and things like that. But fill out this application after the call. We'd really like to get you guys connected. I think that, again, I started my call off saying everything I do is for the animals. But if we can help people along the way, if we can help people cure their diseases and learn to love themselves and take care of themselves, the animals will get taken care of anyways as well. So I think this was really powerful, Jordan, being able to give people years back to their life or save their lives. And Myra, hearing your story too as well is awesome. And Jonathan, excited to be able to give you some support here on your journey too. So I'll shut up and let it go back to Jordan. I just wanted to share that for anybody else that didn't catch his number.
Thanks, John. Naomi, I see that your hand is raised.
No, I already asked my question. I talked to
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know how to lower it, maybe.
I gotcha. Does anyone else have a question that I could give you an answer to, or drop something in the chat? Do you think just being plant-based would help? I've tried to get my parents to do whole foods, but they're stubborn and want the easy processed vegan junk food. I think we all do as well. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, do you want to come on camera, or do you want to share more about what you mean by, do you think just being plant-based would help? Oh, more than just whole foods. Yeah, I do. I eat a processed plant food based diet. Like I said, a lot of my protein sources are Say-Grace, it's TVP, it's TPP. It's different types of vegan protein powders. I have cream of rice, I have cream of wheat. But I eat a lot of whole food plant-based. I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. You got to meet someone where they're at, and every little bit is going to count. Even if it's just one day a week of eating plant-based, that can lead to another step, which is going to be 2 days. They could feel good on those days, get them to experience that. Anything that they could do in order to adopt a vegan-based diet, please have them do, because it's going to benefit them in the long run. Oh, you mean the mock meats? Absolutely. You know, so my wife is not vegan right now. But you know, I'm trying to get over to her because she absolutely loves the animals. We have 4 rescues, and she goes out there every morning and she feeds the squirrels, feeds the birds. But, you know, she doesn't look at cows, unfortunately, in the same way. She doesn't look at chickens, unfortunately, in the same way. And I have an older daughter. Well, we have an older daughter, but we also have 2 younger children. And, you know, I'm getting him used to a vegan diet by utilizing some of the mock meats, Impossible Burgers, Beyond Burgers. Guardian has a great line. It's not going to be as healthy as whole food plant-based, but anything to get my son really excited about having a plant-based diet, I try. And it's the same thing with my wife. She enjoys those meats as well. And anytime that we go out to dinner, we're going to a vegan restaurant. And she loves it. She has so much fun there. There's so much variety. And a lot of them are just mock meats. So definitely anything that you could utilize to try and get them over, meet them where they're at. That's how you always inspire or persuade someone, is you have to meet them first where they're at. You can't speak in another language. You have to speak in a language that they speak, and you have to be able to influence them to come over. So anything that you could do, go right ahead and do so. I hope that answered your question. Oh, glad that you're in the gym listening. That's awesome. That's badass. Anyone else have a question or would like to share their experience as well? Jonathan's story was extremely inspirational, and Myra's story is extremely inspirational. Thank you guys for sharing. Yeah, Jess, I agree. Absolutely. And if you're looking for some advice as far as influencing family members to go vegan, I asked that question to Jessica yesterday, and she brought up a great resource to be able to utilize. So if you guys have access to the VIP and to the recording, please go back and watch that. Because I've been looking all night about these different resources that she shared with us. And you know, I've been sharing it with my wife, and you know, looking forward to, you know, influencing her and inspiring her to go plant-based as well. So. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We are a tight-knit vegan community, vegan to vegan. I love you guys. I'm so thankful for every single one of you for being here. Cancer has impacted my life in such a positive way. It can be negative on so many levels. And I understand that because I've experienced it both with my father, with myself. But at the same time, it's a blessing in disguise. If you utilize it, it could be your superpower. And for those of you that want to get more information, please look at the chat and you know, go where John is instructing you to, and we could get you the type of help and the type of guidance and support that you're looking for. So thank you guys all. Thank you for being here.